Hi loves, Zeta here. So today I have a really fun video. I'm actually going to talk to you about audiobooks. I've been listening to audiobooks now for the past few years, and that's because every single year I want to say I want to read more this year. It's a goal of mine, and somehow I feel like I always come short. I just feel like I don't find the time to do it as much as I'd like. What I do have time for is commuting, unfortunately, and completing stupid chores here and there that I just have to get done. So I try to make the most out of those times by listening to audiobooks, and because of that I have a pretty large collection of different ones that I've collected throughout the past few years, and I feel like I have a good grasp on what makes a good audiobook, at least for someone who has the same taste as me. Because just because a book is a really good book doesn't mean that it's a really good audiobook, because not only does the book have to bring good, valuable information or a fun time, it also has to have a good and interesting narrator incorporated into it, and the books that I want to recommend to you actually have all of those elements. So I have about 10 books that I put together that are really good, that I think you'll have fun listening to, that can bring you some value. And so if you're interested, then please keep watching. Now, to be as organized as I can, I did put the 10 books into 3 different categories. So the first category that I want to talk about is just women empowerment and women's stories. So with that being said, the first book that I want to recommend is Girl, Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis, which I'm pretty sure you've heard about. It's had such a rage around it, and that's because I think it's pretty different and it has a really fun, relatable spin to it. Every single chapter talks about a lie that Rachel used to tell herself and how those lies held her back, and how letting go of those lies she was able to prosper and get to the things that she really wanted to get to. The reason I think it's so relatable is because a lot of these lies are actually things that I know I've told myself and then I don't want to believe, but somehow they pop into my head every now and again. And it's just interesting to see how she was able to have that evolution as a woman and now become such a successful person who's full of confidence and has a really good life. And she doesn't hide the bad stuff, but she just focuses on how everything together makes her who she is. So I really recommend Girl, Wash Your Face. Now, the next book that I want to talk about, I know that you've also heard about, and it's been all over the media, and that's because it's written by someone who I think has changed the world, and that is Becoming Michelle Obama. So this book is really inspiring because it talks about Michelle's upbringing, her journey, how she was able to become the woman that she is today, and I think how life was able to equip her to become such a great first lady and just someone who impacts the world in such a great way overall. And she just talks about making the most out of what you have. She talks about her struggles but also her advantages, and I think it's important to look at both, and I like the way that she incorporates both into her story. So if you're looking for some inspiration, then I recommend Becoming Michelle Obama. So the last book that I have that's focused more around women empowerment and women's stories is Girlboss by Sophia Amoruso, which I know I've recommended to you before, but the reason I really like this book is not only because the story is really good, it's because I like the way Sophia Amoruso narrates it. She's really spunky and she says the things that other people are too afraid to say. And it's just an interesting look into her journey into becoming a world-known entrepreneur and how she was able to break some barriers and also some notions. I think a lot of us grow up thinking like you have to be brought up a certain way or go to a certain school or go into a certain field to merit a certain lifestyle or become a successful businesswoman. She just talks about how her journey evolved and how she was able to do things on her terms, her way, and always believing and being strategic and working really hard. And I think it's just a great book to give you that push into taking into account that you can do what you want to do, you just have to work really hard. And I think it's something that people don't discuss enough, especially women. So if you're looking for that type of motivation, then check out Girlboss by Sophia Amoruso. Okay, so the next set of books are more about self-help and entrepreneurship to a level. I really admire people who have their own businesses. It's something that I really want to do. And I also am a self-help junkie, so this part of the video is a little bit of a combination of those two interests of mine. So the first thing I want to cover is Crush It by Gary Vee. So this book came out a long time ago. Gary Vee is a motivational speaker. He's a really successful entrepreneur. I can never say that word. And he also is really a genius when it comes to marketing, especially online marketing. And his book just brings a spotlight into the idea that in the world that we live in now, with the opportunities that we have thanks to the internet, we can make a lot happen just by being active on social media and being able to find connections with people. And I like the way he brings in different approaches and different stories to how you can make basically any type of interest that you have into a business. So if you're interested in growing your social media presence or just making a day job out of a passion that you have, and it can be any passion, you don't have to want to be a blogger or a vlogger. You can literally be someone who's like obsessed with pillows, and you can make that into a full-time job through social media. And he basically walks you through the steps on how to do that. He is just that person who gives you the tough love that other people won't give you. So check out Crush It by Gary Vee. So my next two books are just self-help. I'm a big self-help junkie, but they're both like on opposite spectrums of the self-help area, but they both cover the same topic essentially, but in a different way. So the next book is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, and I know I've talked about this book before, but I really like it because the way that she writes is really spunky. The idea of the book is that you can achieve anything that you want to do. You can be anyone that you want to be, but you have to believe in yourself, and you need to let go of those self-limiting beliefs. And she just gives you like different scenarios on how we literally hold ourselves back so much just by the things that we think. And I just think it's really important to draw attention to how powerful our thoughts really are. So You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero is a book that I really recommend. And the other book that is coinciding with that I haven't really quite finished yet, but I already really like, is The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up by Mark Manson. So Jen is goofy and she's a little bit vulgar and out there, but he takes it to the next level. And instead of looking at all the aspects of believing in yourself in a frou-frou way, he does the same thing, but like in your face, kind of dirty and mean, but also in a way that you need to hear it, because he just brings in more of a realistic approach as far as saying things like sometimes things are gonna suck and you're gonna have to be okay with that. It's not about always pretending that everything is perfect, but it's about looking at the reality and seeing what you're gonna do with it. It's a different flair on the self-help section, but I think it's also really beneficial and it's fun to listen to. So The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck is a really good book. I wish I had the hard copy. Actually wish I had the hard copy of all these books because there's so many good quotes in them that I wish I could be highlighting, but obviously that would defeat the purpose of the audiobooks. Last books that I have to recommend to you are all about finance, because I went through a tough little financial situation that kind of opened my eyes to how dumb I'd been with my money. And ever since then, I put myself like in a mini boot camp. I've been trying to become more mature when it comes to handling my finances, and I think a really good way of doing that is to constantly listen to something and keep the conversation flowing in my head about it. If I put it to the side, that's when I kind of see myself steering away from my goals and losing sight of my discipline. So it's something that like I said, I like to keep active in my mind. So audiobooks are a great way of doing that. Now, the first book that opened my eyes to this journey of finances is The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I'm pretty sure you've heard about Dave if you're at all interested in finances and trying to get your budget right. So basically Dave, he has this book where he talks about how to get out of debt. Most Americans are in debt, unfortunately, whether it's by credit card debt or your car, your house, or student loans. A lot of people are drowning in it, and he sheds light on it and just calls everybody basically stupid for allowing ourselves to be in debt. And he talks about how to get out of it, he calls them baby steps that you can take to get through the debt. And he just does it in a way that you can actually like write it down, make it actionable, and he brings in a different perspective to what, you know, society normally wants us to believe, which is, hey, it's okay to be in debt. And he talks about the reasons why it's not okay, and again, how to get out of it. So I really recommend The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. He also has a podcast if you want more inspo, and he's like that southern uncle that tells it how it is, and he's just so fun. I love it. The next book that I listened to that has to do with finances that I really loved is also You Are a Badass at Making Money. And it's basically a piggybacking off of You Are a Badass, you know, letting go of those self-limiting beliefs, but now when it comes to money. A lot of us are brought up a certain way, like you can't do this for money, or you'll never have this much money. And even though we want to say we don't believe it, they're just thoughts that have been embedded in us for such a long time, and our actions naturally will follow those thoughts. Even if there's something that we don't say out loud, but somehow they're just in there. Jen basically just talks about her journey and how she was able to snap out of that mentality and how she was able to build some wealth. And like I mentioned before, she's just super spunky, so any book by her is really actually good, and she's really good at narrating them. So You Are a Badass at Making Money. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more serious, and still is about finances, but it's based more on storytelling, I would recommend Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I had to look at his name, Robert Kiyosaki. So basically, this is a really fun book because it's not so much like a, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's more of a story. And obviously we all like listening to stories, and in each chapter he talks about a lesson that he learned from observing these two men that were in his life and how he was able to make the most out of the lessons that came through them. And it's a really good book because it talks about things that I think the economy class that I grew up in doesn't really talk about or know about, and was able to give me a different perspective on what it actually means to have money, what it actually means to have wealth. I think a lot of people confuse having a nice car with being wealthy or having a big house, but he talks about the fact that when you are wealthy is when you can sleep and be making money, and how to get there. So if you're interested in building up a bank account, or at least just being more worldly when it comes to money, then check out Rich Dad Poor Dad. And the last book is more like geared towards women or millennials, but it's still based around finances, and it's called The Financial Diet by Chelsea Flanagan. I decided to try out her book because I actually am subscribed to her YouTube channel. She has a YouTube channel talking all about money, and this is a really good book if you just want some sound, good advice when it comes to money. It's not too difficult to follow along with, even if you're someone that knows nothing about it. And I really like this book because it talks about the importance of keeping money in our conversations. It sheds some light on the fact that a lot of us will never dare talk about money with our friends or family members, but we'll talk about everything else. And the importance of actually bringing it up, being knowledgeable, being on the same page when it comes to finances with our significant others or our families or even our friends. It also gives you actionable steps on how to save money and how to put together a retirement plan and the importance of those things, and also not comparing your life to other people. It seems like now everyone is in that notion of follow your dreams, or you see people living it up on social media and maybe you want to do the same thing, but you might not have the finances at the moment to do it. She just talks about the fact that that is okay, that you have to be realistic with yourself and your bank account and see what works for you, and just making the most out of it. So it's a really good book. Check out The Financial Diet by Chelsea Flanagan, and also the TFC, The Financial Diet YouTube channel. It is really good. Alright, love, so those are basically the top 10 audiobooks that I recommend to you. I hope that you like them. Let me know what you think about them. If you have something to recommend, please leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you love. I'll leave them all listed below just in case. I know someone's gonna ask. I listen to all my audiobooks on Audible. I don't have any kind of affiliation with them. I just really like them. I know they offer the first book for free, so if you want to just get that going, then just go to their website or download the app. Anyway, I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. I hope you have a great day. Stay positive and be zoo. Bye.